Okay, so one of the things that y'all seem to be having the most problem with is what exactly needs to be included for other people to run your game. So I'm going to show you how to make a Windows build, which is what you really need to do because majority of people are going to be able to do Windows. Um, those of y'all who have Macs, I'm sorry, there's an issue where it's kind of hard for PCs to build for Mac systems. But Windows, yeah. So, the first thing you need to do, and I know this is a 2D game, but just go with it, is you need to say, hey, in your build settings, you have to make sure that you've added every scene that you want included. So, if you don't have the scenes included, then it won't build it. You have to make sure that you are on whatever you need to do. In this case, it's PC, Mac, and Linux standalone. You see I can make for Windows, but I can't make for anything else. Sometimes you can do a Unity Cloud build, which technically can make for Macs, but it's not exactly the best option. So once you have all this stuff in, you may want to set your player settings. So if you come over to player settings, this is where you can say, hey, my company name, what do I want it to be? What do I want the game to be called? So what do I want that file to actually save out as? Remember that I told you guys that it should be something like this, but then it should also be like 1_0_0 or whatever, so that you get those numbers in. This technically has a version on it, so it'll save it that way. So if you're changing your cursor or anything like that, if you need to change your icons, so, I've got an icon, resolution and presentation. If you come down here, you say, hey, this is how big it needs to be. What aspect ratios do I want to support? So to figure out your aspect ratios, if you come over to your game tab, you can see the only one that I support, or the only one that I would want to support, is 4:3. So make sure that that's set to 4:3. The splash image is, what you want it to pop up when it pops up the Unity logo. And then other settings, you probably won't have to mess with many of these. So once that's all done, you can say, yeah, okay, I'm pretty good. Now, I want to... Why are you angry at me? I want to switch the platform. Okay, so because I built it in WebGL, it's got to switch over to PC Mac. So it's got to do its thing and think for a couple minutes. Hopefully not a couple minutes. Hopefully just a couple seconds. But basically what it's doing is it's rebuilding things in the background just to build the architecture to support the building to a standalone window, rather than it having to build inside of WebGL, which is a language in and of itself. So it has to translate between them. I'm going to pause the recording and we'll come back when it's decided that it's done. Okay, so it's finished. Everything looks great. And so you have two options. You have build and you have build and run. So build will just build it, and then you've got to run it. Build and run will build and run it. If we click build, you're going to see it opens up what is our project folder. We want to go somewhere that is not this project folder. Your best option is probably your desktop, to create a new folder. And there's a dog in the background, of course. So, create a new folder. Create a new folder, and what you're going to do is you're going to call it the name of your game. So, in this case, it's Stackimals. And you could do Stackimals 101 or whatever. However you want to name it, however you want to call it. And once you have that, you're going to select that folder, and you're going to tell it that that's where you want it to build. So now this is going to take some time. This one, it may not, because this one's kind of small. But the reality is, for you guys taking or doing your 3D games, as you guys have done with your playtests, you may have noticed that it can take forever. And that has to do with the lighting intensity. So 2D games tend to build a lot faster than 3D games, because 2D games, you're not having to see, we've already built. 2D games, you're not having to build everything. 3D games, because you're having to build the lighting and there's that whole extra axis that you have to deal with, it takes a lot longer. So once we're here, you have a couple options for what you need to zip together. It will automatically open this, so you can just like grab all 5 of these, right click, grab all 5 of these, right click, and send to compressed zipped folder. Or you can come up to your desktop where you've got this whole folder and just right click that folder and send to compressed zipped folder. So you need all 5 of these things minimum. If you followed a tutorial that had you do extra things, you may have to have another folder that has like text boxes and things like that, or your scripts and stuff like that in it. So that's why I always say a minimum of these 5, because occasionally you're going to have more. Now, the one other thing that you have to do before you submit this, and some of you aren't doing this and it's very, very evident, is you need to click this exe. You need to click your game and you need to find out and make sure that it is actually playing like it's supposed to. Because some of you guys have noticed that, you have your button here, but if you click it, it doesn't go anywhere. So you've got to, then you start clicking around trying to figure out why, or other people will figure it out. And it has to do with your anchors. So all you got to do is click the start button and you've got to make sure, hey, does this actually work like it's supposed to? So try your win condition. Try your lose condition. That would be a win condition. Okay, so try your lose condition. Make sure everything works, including your resets and your close. So yeah, so again, you need all 5 of these things. You need all 5 of those zipped together. If you guys turn in where you zip it into this, you like zip it down here, I won't take it. You guys have had the entire, semester to learn to not put it here, because if you zip it in here, it makes this zip file, incredibly large, and then it makes it even larger when you have to download it or unzip it. So, build into the right folder. Build into a separate folder. That's really all I have to say. So far I've been looking at games, I've been checking things out. Some of you have built correctly, some of you have not built correctly. So go back and check. It's due tonight, which is the 8th at midnight. So you have time. Rebuilding should not be the end of your life. That being said, I do suggest that when you're building to, go take a shower, go grab a drink, go do something, come back and check on it, because depending on how much lighting and how many particles and how much stuff is actually happening, your 3D game will build slow, especially if this is the first time you've built it with all the lighting and everything inside of it. So yeah, it's been wonderful to see and have you guys as students, and I hope that the winter break goes well for you. I hope that your finals go well for you. And I'll see you on the other side. Have a great winter break, guys.